Empathy, apathy, accountability. This is deep. I'm gonna go there. Mood swings with myself. Maybe you too. With whatever kind of mood swings you might have. I can separate more or less my moods through empathy and apathy, basically, to keep it simple. I'll start with the apathy. Empathy would have been sweeter. I'll start with the apathy. It's real. It's true. I don't know how many of you will admit that. And I personally, inside of my mind, how things come in and out of it, my interaction with everything and other people. If apathy and empathy are a part of the instinct of human behavior, everyone has it more or less. And all this spectrum of human behavior where humans can kill one another, rape, kill, just horrible things that you can think of that actually do happen. One way or another, it's in every single one of us. And apathy is at the very top. And if you absolutely do not care at all, or you care a whole lot, if you're somewhere in the middle, maybe you're just human. If you have a variety of moods where you're a little of this, a little of that, then you're moody. Then if you have an extreme anger where you actually kill someone that you are around or whatever, was it apathy? Was it an extreme emotion inside of the mind? I'd say that would be an extreme emotion in the mind. Apathy, in its how I would take it, and on my full apathy is I don't care, and that is apathy. And apathy might not be entirely full until you do yourself in, because that's something I think about is that's a point where you truly are 100% have apathy, or a percentage that's so high that you're at a point where there's not enough care to even live anymore, and living another day or another hour or another minute is not even in mind, because that's not something realized only by people that are gone, that are not even here anymore. So they're not even going to be able to tell you their account. They're not going to tell you their apathy level. So when I say the highest amount of apathy that I can have is in the flesh, that I can convey from my mind at this moment, on this day, and at this moment. When I go through mood swings and I have empathy and I care so much, and then I have apathy and I don't care, and I hang on to my connection or my friend that I've been making, and I'm faking it so that way I can keep it going, and then they drop me or they leave me in the dust. It hurts, and I still have emotion even though there's that apathy there. I still care, or at least there's that instinct of, or maybe not even instinct, maybe thinking about it. Okay, I've been talking to this new person for about 15 days. We've been emailing, and I've put some thought into it, and then they're gone for whatever reason, me or them. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would be thinking in that situation. Empathy mood, to jump over there. What's a person who's going to be going through an extreme empathy mood? They might get a plane ticket to Africa, Kenya. Grab everything that they have, take it over to them, feed them, take care of them. Until they're all out, and then they're going to come back. To me, that's an extreme empathy. Because you could hop online and start saying, oh, I'm going to start sending Patreons, or I'm going to start doing this, and oh, I'm going to start sending something to Haiti, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And then the very next day you could be saying, hey, all of everything can blow hard. And what is the matter with that when the day before you're sending money to Haiti, and the day after you're saying that all humanity can eat shit? Obviously, there's something that's disconnecting and reconnecting, disconnecting, reconnecting. And this can go back toward yourself, where you hate yourself. You are so far off from other people. You were born that way. And here you are, you're so far off from this hovering in a certain area of empathy and apathy. And this is normality. We'll talk about normal people, or your neurological people, whatever you want to call it. Everyone else. They can idle in a certain area of where it's, today is Halloween, and I get a good feeling from putting things on the door, putting candy out there, and I'm fulfilled by that, and everything's lovely, and I care about my family, and everything is good. Hey, what you talking about? they got something to say too. What I'm saying is about that is that hovering area, that idling area, that's not far from normal, which is boring all the time. People are basically in a rut of emotion, in my opinion. They're coasting through life, and it's not their fault. They were born that way. If they are happy, sad, glad, whatever, it's all within a certain section of emotional movement up and down. For people that have mood swings, apathy and empathy is really a jerk around with the brain. It frustrates me, and I really could, if my arm could reach up high enough into the sky to pull something down that has something to do with it, and I could get my grip on it, I would. Not too happy about it. I still need to be grateful. I still need to be grateful about something every day. And it's very important that I am grateful for something. You know, when you have apathy and you're not hitting your head against the wall and saying to yourself that you must be grateful for something, then you might end up in that realm of complete dog crap. Or to articulate that, you could end up in that self-hate zone. You know, it's bad enough not having the rail to go along on as other people do. If you don't have that, and you have the empathy, you have the apathy, and you're at a point where you're not grateful for something, or you're not thinking, at least making yourself think about something. Okay, I like this. This is good. This is okay. This is great. This is good. This is whatever. As a psychiatrist, gotta know the difference, said to me once, he said, "You're finicky." And this was only after talking to the guy for about 10 minutes. That's bad. You're finicky. That keeps coming back to me. And I'm looking at him wearing his Dockers pants that are whatever, and I'm looking at someone that does the same thing over and over and over. I could tell by looking at their pants. I could tell by looking at their socks, their shoes, everything. All of it. The way they trim their hair, everything. I could tell that they're I already said it, you know it. So, you know, when he said that to me, I'm saying, oh man, you know, here I am, I'm in a vulnerable situation, and I've got my Savior saying to me that I'm finicky. It was an insight. I thank him. I haven't seen him since. He prescribed me some things. I think that was the same fella that prescribed me some benzos. Thanks, bud. I still have all of them. I haven't even used 3% of them to give you an idea of who I am, or at least how my brain functions. He was pretty cool though. He was an alright guy. I've had some other... I will talk about that another time. Other interactions with psychotherapists that wasn't so sweet. That guy was pretty cool. And that was an emergency situation. That, remember, if you're viewing this, remember, there's always some kind of social emergency thing out there that's available to you, depending on your state and county. Still, it's there. So if you're in the mind that there's nothing that could do anything for you, and there's nothing whatever, and you're gonna go the route of ending yourself, always remember what I'm saying to you right now. There is a social thing out there that's emergency. And the psychiatrist part that has to do with the drugs that will make everything so wonderful for you, that might be the 9 to 5 where you have a certain window that you can go into. Still, if you need someone to talk to and you are really thinking that you're going to do it, call. And I'm going to differentiate between the 1-800 don't do yourself in number and your local mental health, not the hospital, not your hospital and not your mental hospital. There is an actual... what is the actual word for it that they call it? Differentiate this and write this down so you know for yourself. There is a difference between the 24-hour county health center. You gotta know it. You gotta look it up. You gotta know it. You gotta differentiate. I don't know it right off the bat. If you want to know what the hell I'm talking about, message me, and if you care, I'll look it up. I went to it in my county. I drove out to it and I talked to some guy. He was pretty cool. There was no BS. I sat in a room for a couple of minutes. They called me out. I talked to some guy. It was formal. Whatever. The way he talked to me was formal. Oh, that's horrible. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Have you done this? That's horrible. Oh my goodness. Still, it was there. And even though it was formal, it was still, he hooked me up with some other things that were county social type things that you can go to if you have a certain what that you have to have, or else you don't get it. And then you can go, and if it's very, very important to you, that you can talk to a psychologist, which doesn't have to do with drugs, then they'll talk to you. And they were actually pretty cool because they want your dough. They want your dough. They're a business. Forgive me for saying so. They are. Hello. I mean, they're not angels from heaven. There was actually someone that took me into a room who herself was, forgive me for saying not all there, put me through whatever, and she had the same and she was just married. She was extremely sweet. I hadn't met someone that sweet in a long time. And she had the same last name as the person they hooked me up with as a psychologist. which was extremely weird. It's keep in mind that you have the emergency when you hook up with that social thing with your county. Keep in mind you have the psychologist, you have the psychiatrist, the drugs person, which they will put you on a waiting list for. And keep in mind that you maybe, if, depending on your county, you have emergency windows that you can go into. For moi, it was on X amount of weekdays from 1 to 2. And my butt was sitting in that chair at 1 on whatever day it was. And I remember I got in there and the guy was picking cheese and ham out of his teeth from his lunchies. And then I was there blah blah in his face. And I got what I wanted. Something to help me with sleep. Which turned out to be crap. I only took maybe a fourth of it. Ambien. And I still have a whole bunch of that left over. I'll feed that to nothing. That'll go to nothing. That's a zero go. As you can tell, I'm on a tangent. Not really though, because I think you could do something with that. I gotta get going with something here. Some kind of importance, which is very important to me. Apathy, empathy. How close to it are you? Apathy and empathy. As far as mood swings, if you have them. Probably do, if you've watched 22 minutes in. To expound on empathy, the compassion, which is a burden. Apathy is rip everyone apart and take everything you want. You get anything you want, and that's probably what's at the very top of humanity, in the ruling of humanity and taking from humanity in its own way, unscathed, removed from birth to death. Probably apathy probably rules everything. That's if everything is a part of code, then if all humans have a little teeny bit of everything or a whole lot of whatever, then yeah, apathy is the epitome of you're really gonna get whatever, yeah, because you don't care. And empathy, you're going to get the very least because of the compassion. And compassion is taking you towards doing things for others, and which would be sharing and caring. And apathy would be at least in the realm of taking care of yourself and no one else. And if I go through this back and forth, Monday, Friday, whatever, and I don't have that consistency that the most apathetic has from birth to death to take everything that they can, and how vulnerable it is for me to share this with you, that I myself am a monster at times, and damn you if you also go through that and think, or even going to say to yourself for a moment that you're not, when you are, I'm speechless about it. Because the only people that you can reach out to are people that are compassionate. Anyone with apathy has zero connectivity, caring for anything or anyone. It's interesting how people with apathy from birth to death still might have the instinct to love their son or daughter or wife. It's interesting to think that someone that's killing millions of people, or let me go back, they're not killing anyone. They're having to do with something that has something to do with killing millions of people. Loves their son, their daughter, their wife, maybe. They still have that instinct there for some kind of love. How many times have you watched a video where someone that has a lot of money comes on and talks about how there's not a lot of love at home, and how dad is more concerned with money than with his family. Not a lot of love. That's the point, is not a lot of love at home. And then people in the ghettos, if it isn't all one ghetto, people in the ghettos will talk about how their mother was most loving, their father was most loving. They would do anything for anyone. They would take their shirt off of their back for anyone, a stranger, anyone. Look at the difference between the two. And if you have mood swings, think about what's within you. And if you hate yourself for a moment in time, and you are putting the pieces together or whatever, think about instinct, think about apathy and empathy, and how it has something to do with you. You know, this is probably one of the hardest things to talk about publicly. Probably. It leaves me kind of vulnerable. It's raw. If it helps one person, you know the rest. Good night.